we say our pranam mantras. So we all can unmute yourselves and we all can say together. We'll just say the pranam mantras. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we'll see how much we can finish. We'll try to finish the whole chapter. It is not that big, so maybe we can finish the whole chapter, but we'll see how much we can read today. Okay. The Krishna consciousness, the matchless gift, chapter 5, learning steadiness in Krishna consciousness. When one reaches the topmost position of material opulence, the tendency of renunciation is natural. There are two tendencies in the material world: bhoga, which is sense enjoyment, and tyaga, that is renunciation of the material world. Without guidance, however, one does not know how to renounce. First of all, one wants to enjoy, and then when he is frustrated in enjoyment, he renounces. Again, when he is tired of renunciation, he enjoys like a clock pendulum, which swings from one side to other side. We thus, let me actually increase the font size. Okay, I think this is good, right? Okay, we are thus the vacillating from the platform of enjoyment to platform of renunciation and back again. Karmi's fruitive workers try to enjoy this world and reap the fruits of it. Consequently, they are constantly traveling on expressway all day and night to engage in material enjoyment. On the other hand, there are other, predominantly the discontented youth, who don't want any part of this. Thus, the world contains those engaged in bhoga and those engaged in tyaga. However, we will not be happy by following either of these paths because it is not our proper position to either enjoy or to renounce. Since everything belongs to Krishna and nothing belongs to anyone else, whatever we possess in actual Krishna's property. Ishavashyam idam sarvam. Since we have not produced these trees, plants, water, land, we cannot claim them. Since we actually have nothing, we can renounce nothing, or as it is said, naked we come into the world and naked we go out. In the interim, we falsely claim, this is my country, this is my home, this is my wife, these are my children, this is my property, this is my bank balance, etc. and etc. Right? So what Prabhupada is saying here in this chapter, why is steadiness? So what is the name, first of all? Name of the chapter. The name of the chapter is Steadiness, right? How to learn to be steady, how to be steady in Krishna consciousness. And what Prabhupada is pointing regarding the steadiness is enjoyment and renunciation. Two things, two propensities, okay? Either we want to enjoy or we want to just, give up, right? So those give up means tyaga. So if we want, when we don't have something, then we want it. We have that, we develop that propensities that I want it and I want to enjoy it. Versus when we don't want, then or when we have enjoyed enough, then we just want to just get rid of it. We feel frustrated and we just don't want to deal with it anymore. So that's like a natural propensities that that jiva has, the bhoga and tyaga. But what Prabhupada is saying, that these are artificial. These are not our real innate nature. It is not the real innate nature of the jiva, because but he falsely claims that because I of the false ego, or the false um, identity that it develops around the body, that this is, first of all, the very first thing, this is my body, this is me, this is like that illusion on that bodily conception. Then everything expands to that, like this is my home, this is my property, children, relatives, and everything that comes around. But we don't understand the fact that nothing belongs to us. So what is it, first of all, to claim that is ours? And after we have claimed, and when it is maybe time to leave or get frustrated, we have this propensity of, I want to give up, I want, I'm frustrated, I that tyaga, like getting rid of it, is also not the natural, because it is not mine anyway, right? Is it ours? So here Prabhupada is pointing, Ishavashyam, this is Lord's, everything belongs to him. We came in this world with what? Nothing. We had these houses, and we were given possession at some point, we acquired possessions, this, that, but we leave everything. This house, okay, let's take to this house. House is made of what? Stones, wood, right? Metal. Okay. All these things, stones, wood, metal, whom does it belong to? It belongs to us?
Krishna.
Krishna. The earth itself, all these materials come from earth, and this earth belongs to us. So we are just falsely claiming everything. Actually, if you think of it, nothing belongs to us. So there is nothing really to give up. And there is nothing even to, go behind or run behind. By karma's destiny, whatever we are destined, it will come. But we have to put our endeavor. We have to um, do fulfill our obligations and our responsibilities while we are here, in whatever aspects it may be. Maybe household duties, maybe duties toward the family, towards our relatives, things like that, to the society. So, but if we do it in the right consciousness, what will happen is our minds will be steady. And what is that right consciousness? That those do not belong to us. So there's nothing for me to be attached to it, or have the feeling of frustration towards it. So both are not the right consciousness. So if we do everything in the right consciousness, then nothing will be binding to us. And beyond that, we will always be on the right path. Like, we'll follow the path of righteousness in our dealings. And that's what Krishna wants from us. So, what then is meaning of bhoga and tyaga? In the light of actual fact, they have no actual meaning. Bhoga is thievery, and tyaga, renunciation, is what never belonged to us, for the form of lunancy. In this regard, Krishna gives us the direction. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Although we have created different types of religions based on bhoga and tyaga, we are thus advised to give up all of these and surrender onto Krishna. It is not within our power to enjoy or to renounce. When renunciation is recommended in Bhagavad-Gita, it refers to renunciation of everything, that we falsely claim or to possess. A child may take $100 bill from his father and try to keep it, although he may not know how to use it. The father may beg the child, "Dear boy, kindly give it to me." The child does not know that money actually belongs to the father, nor does he know that he had best hand in it, he had best hand it to his father, for he simply does not know how to use it. Similarly, Krishna says, "Renounce your work for me, renounce your wealth and property for me." Krishna is not a beggar, for everything belongs to him, but he doesn't treat us like a small children. Compliances to his request to give everything to him is called tyaga, renunciation, and one of the meaning of by which one can attain elevation to Krishna consciousness. Austerity, celibacy, equanimity, charity are all required for realization of the ultimate or absolute truth. Krishna consciousness is not concerned with the relative truth, but with the absolute. In Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva offers his obeisances to Supreme Absolute Truth. Satyam
Mataji,
Param.
we cannot hear you.
Oh, okay. Is it not clear?
I can hear you. I think it's his internet problems.
Okay. So I still increased my volume. Hopefully this will be a little more better. Okay. Krishna consciousness is not concerned with the relative truth, but with the absolute. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva offers his obeisances to Supreme Absolute Truth, Satyam Param Dhimahi. He offers his respect not to the relative categorical truth, but to the Samam Bonam, the absolute truth. It is the duty of Brahmanas to practice those qualities by which the absolute truth can be realized. Brahmanas must be qualified by practicing cleanliness, truthfulness, control of mind and senses, simplicity by cultivating faith in the Vedas and particularly in Bhagavad-Gita. When Krishna says, "I am the Supreme Lord," we have to accept him with faith, not foolishly, but with full knowledge and practically apply this acceptance in our daily life. The Brahmanas is not created by birth, but by education, practice, and knowledge. It is not the question of birth, but quality, as pointed out by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Chaturvarnam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha tasya kartaram api mam vidhi kartaram avyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. What is Lord Krishna saying here in this verse? Guna karma. That is the main word in this. See, it is based on, is it, when we say of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these are the varnas, right? And then we have learned about varnas, and then we have learned about four ashrams, Grahastha, Vanaprastha. So first of all, Brahmachari, then Grahastha, then Vanaprastha, and then Sannyas. And then, so 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. Chatur varnam maya srishtam. So these 4 varnas and 4 ashrams, Lord is saying this gradually. This arrangement is created by me. But based on what? Guna and karma. Not based on the birth, based on the qualities that we acquire, or qualities we have, qualities we develop, or things that we do. Based on that, this natural division of class is created. by the Lord. So here Prabhupada is pointing that, Brahmana's qualities. First of all, he's pointing out to the qualities of Brahmana. He should be peaceful and, so many other things that, we will read now. But so what is the point that Prabhupada is trying to make? That, when we are steady with our senses, when we are steady with controlling our senses, our mind is steady, and all this slowly, these gradually, these qualities develop. And we get this, we fall into this varnas and ashrams based on the qualities that we have. So one must not only have the qualities of Brahmana, but one should also work as a Brahmana. For one's qualities are tested by his work. If one is qualified engineer but simply sits down at home and does not work, what is his value? Similarly, unless one works as a Brahmana, there is no value to his simply saying, I am a Brahmana. One must therefore work as a Brahmana by fully engaging in the service of Parabrahma Krishna, the Supreme Brahman. How can service to the Absolute Truth be executed? Yamena niyamena cha. The practice of yoga or linking with the Supreme is based on the principles of regulation and control. Regulation cannot be executed without the control. Therefore, one must be thoughtful and purify himself. If one wants to pass the examination, he has to go to school, follow the principles of the school, and take some pain in his study. And then gradually he comes to be successful. If he plays all day on the street, how can he expect success? Therefore, in the process of being explained by Shukadev Goswami, the first necessity is tapasya, austerity. Even if the austerity of a brahmachari are painful because we want to be unrestricted, as soon as we are regulated, what appear to be painful is in practice not painful. There are two classes of men, those who are sober, dhira, and those who are extravagant, adhira. Dhira means like steady, like stable-minded, sober. And then opposite of that is extravagant, adhira. When one, in spite of provocation or in spite of the presence of a source of the mental agitation, can remain steady in his position is called dhira. An example of dhira is given by Kalidas Pandit, a great Sanskrit poet who wrote the book Kumara Sambhava, wherein he has given the example concerning the Lord Shiva. It appears that when the demigods were fighting with the demon and were being defeated, they decided that they could be saved by a commander-in-chief born by the seminal of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, however, was in meditation, and to acquire the needed semen was very difficult. They therefore sent Parvati, a young girl, who appeared before Lord and worshipped his genitals. Although this young girl sat before Lord Shiva and touched his genital, Lord Shiva was steady in meditation, Kalidas says. Here is an example of dhira, for despite of the young girl touching the genitals, he was undisturbed. Similarly, someone sent a young prostitute to disturb Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur said, yes, your proposal is very nice. Please sit down and let me finish my chanting, and then we shall enjoy. Morning came. The prostitute became impatient by Haridas' reply. I am very sorry, I could not finish my chanting. Come tonight again. The prostitute came 3 nights, and then on the third night, she fell down at his feet. confessed her intentions and plead with him. I was induced to form
Ajitesh.
I was induced to perform this act by the man.
Ajitesh.
Okay, let's make sure we're all on mute. Okay. The I was induced to perform this act by the man who is your enemy. Kindly excuse me. Haridas Thakur then replied, I know all about that, but I allowed you to come here for 3 days and that you could be converted to become a devotee. Now take these chanting beads and go on chanting. I am leaving this place. Here is another example of Dhira who has control of his body, that is Deha, words, that is Vacha, and intelligence, that is Buddhi. One's body, words, and intelligence should be controlled by one who is Dhira and who actually knows the principles of religion. We have been continuously committing sinful activities since time immemorial, and we do not know when this began. But this life, it is meant for rectification of all the mistakes that we have committed. If one sets fire to unwanted grass and creepers in the field, they will all be burned. Similarly, by the process of austerities and penance, one can liquidate all sinful activities and become purified. But Shukdev Goswami suggests the alternate process. Kechit Kevala Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayanaha. Generally, if one leads an austere and pious life of celibacy, equanimity, charity, etc., people will say that he is very pious man, but simply by becoming Krishna consciousness, one can kill all the resultant actions of his past sinful life. A fog disappears as soon as the sun rises, and Krishna rises with the brilliance of thousands of sun. This process is accepted by someone who is very fortunate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore said, Eirupa Brahmananda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Peach. By the grace of Krishna and the spiritual master, a fortunate person, after wandering throughout the universe in different species of life, receives the seed of pure devotional service after, and that becomes, that's like many lives. Kono Bhagyavanji, very, very rare. Okay. Who would like to read some? Krishna consciousness is meant for.
Hi. Hi, Mataji.
Yeah. Yes. Let's have Ajitesh read, and
Okay.
then you can go.
Krishna consciousness is meant for the. Do I continue reading?
Yes. Go ahead.
Very fortunate. For simply by accepting this one process, a person can surpass all the duties of austerity, renunciation, self-speed, etc. Sukadev Swami declares, one who's extremely for limited takes to process of pure devotional service. Kavala Bhakti prefers to pure unalloyed devotional service, in which there is no desire but to please Krishna. One should not render devotional service just to increase his income. We want money to become happy. But if we take to Krishna consciousness, automatically, we will become so happy that we will automatically we will become so happy that we will neglect money. Money will automatically become happiness will come. There's no need to end ever. There's no need to end ever for these things separately. It was Dhruva Maharaj who lamented, how foolish I was that I took him to my devotional service with a desire for material profit. Ordinarily for material hire for material profit. Ordinarily for material
Profit.
profit. One goes to his boss or some rich man or demigods. Fool a devotee does not not go anywhere but to Krishna, even for material advantages. The day will come when he forgets material desire. Just like one who had pleased a very rich man who asks for a few grains of rice. A very rich man agrees to give us whatever we want, but we ask him only for a few grains of rice. Is that very intention? Asking Krishna for material benefits is exactly like this. One need not ask Krishna externally for material happiness. For material happiness will automatically roll before this.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Addesh. So what is Prabhupada saying here? That we all know about the story of Dhruva Maharaj, right? He did so much austerity. He was just 5 years, right? He was a very young boy. And in that young age, so much austerity alone by himself in the forest. When he finished all those austerities, when Lord appeared in front of him, first of all, he was doing those austerities in the desire that he wanted a big kingdom, because we all know the story of Dhruva Maharaj, how his stepmother had told him not to sit on his father's lap, and she pushed him out of father's lap. He got very offended, and that's why he wanted the kingdom even bigger than his father. He wanted that big position, because he was dragged from his position of that love bond for his father, and uh, but higher to the throne, to this kingdom. And in that, because she wanted that, his stepmother wanted that kingdom for her own son. So that's why she behaved like that with Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj, when he's doing so much austerities, finally Krishna comes in front of him. Vasudev, he was meditating on the form of Vasudev, Lord Shri Krishna comes, and then he says to Dhruva Maharaj, ask me whatever you need. But at the pleasing darshan of the Lord, he said, I don't want anything. I was looking for actually the pieces of glass, and now here I have the diamond. So that was just he was looking for a big kingdom, but here he has the Lord in front of him, who is the source of everything that exists. And he just wanted to become a pure devotee of the Lord. He wanted to serve the Lord. His consciousness was completely purified from those contaminations just by the darshan of the Lord. So like that, Prabhupada is saying here that these all things, they are really, we go behind these things thinking they are so important. If I don't get those things, I won't be happy. But over the time we realize even those things that we go behind so bad, when those things would frustrate us at some point, when we are done with them, when we are done enjoying with them. So really, it's just matter of time we realize all those things. So but what happens? That time has elapsed, that opportunity for us to become pure or elevate ourselves or purify ourselves, that time has elapsed, right? So Prabhupada is teaching us here that these things will come anyway. So if we are destined, we will get them anyway. But what is more important is to purify our consciousness. So the very pleading that please take me, please take me. Those who are practicing Krishna consciousness are not in need of material opulence, wives, children, happiness, home, for all is acquired automatically by the grace of Krishna. There is no need to ask Krishna for these material things, but one should simply request him, please engage me in your service. In Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna also promises that if one engages in his service, he will supply what is needed and preserve whatever is already possessed. If one of his final instructions to Arjuna indicates the total dependence on him. Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sannyasa matpara buddhiyogam upashritya machitta satatam bhava. In all activities and their results, just depend on me and work under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. 1857. Okay, so that was a short chapter. Like I said, we will finish it all today. So that's the end of the chapter. We have quite some time, so we will get into our next chapter, chapter 6, Transcending the Designation and Problems. Okay, Param, you have question?
Mataji, can I try reading?
Yes, go ahead, Param.
Krishna consciousness is easily achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, but only some are the fortunate enough to have the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and to his disciplined succession.
Disciplined succession.
According to Bhagavad-Gita.
Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Param, can you repeat behind me? Manushyanam sahasreshu.
Manushyanam sahasreshu.
Kaschit yatati siddhaye.
Kaschit yati siddhaye.
Yatatam api siddhanam.
Yatatam api siddhanam.
Kaschit mam veti tatvata.
Kaschit mam veti tatvata.
Out of many, okay, go ahead, Param, read the translation.
Out of many thousand among men who men own may and wear for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows him. One knows me in truth. Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 7, shloka number 3.
Very nice. Go ahead, read one more paragraph, Param.
God realization is not possible for animals or for persons who are almost animals, or for animals in the shape of human beings. Consequently, civilization is by and large an assembly of animals because, as
Stated.
I forgot where it was.
Because as stated before, it operates
on the basis of the animal
propensities.
The birds and beasts arise early in the morning and busy themselves trying to find food and sex and trying to defend themselves. At night, they look for shelter, and in the morning, they fly to a tree to find nuts and fruits. Similarly, in New York City, great hordes of people travel from one island to another by ferry, boat, or wait for subways.
Yes. in order to go to the office for the purpose of finding food. How is this an advancement over an animal life? Right? We may think that, oh, New York is America is the most powerful country, right, in the world, and New York is the most developed state uh, in the whole America, most advanced, right? What are people doing? First thing is they have to go for, get dressed in the morning. First thing is they have to go quickly out the door, get into, wherever their, workplaces are. So much traffic, right? And so how is it any different from the lower form of, the lower consciousness of the living beings like an animals, right? Although the ferry and the subway are always crowded and many people have to travel 40 and 50 miles for bread, the birds are free to fly from one tree to another. Real civilization is not concerned simply with man's animal needs, but with enabling man understand his relationship with God, the Supreme Father. One may learn about the relationship with God by any process, through Christianity, through the Vedic literature, or through Quran. But in case it must be learned, but in any case it must be learned. The purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement is not to take Christianity into Hindu or Hindus into Christian, but to inform everyone that the duty of a human being is to understand his relationship with God. One must learn this, otherwise he is simply wasting his time by engaging in animalistic propensities. We shall try to love Krishna or God. If one has the process, he should practice it, and he can come and learn this process. One should not begrudge the selection of one process over another. Vishad api amritam grihayam amedhya api kanchanam nischadat api uttamam vidyam Sriratanam Dushko Lad Api Niti Darpana 116. Chanaka Pandit says that one must catch what is right from any source. If there is a glass in a position with some nectar in it, he says one should take out the nectar and leave the poison. If one In the same way, if one finds gold in the filthy place, he should take it. Similarly, although according to the Vedic system of education, one must be given instruction by intellectual person like Brahmana. If someone lower on the social scale has learned the truth, one should accept him as a teacher and learn from him. One should not think that just because one is lowly born of, he should not be accepted by a teacher. Okay. So basically here Prabhupada is pointing that, we should not just see the external aspect of anything. We should really focus on the quality. Okay. Who would like to read little? Manohar, you want to read?
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, go ahead, Meher.
Similarly, if one is serious about understanding God, he would not think I'm Christian, I'm Hindu, or I'm Muslim. If one is serious about understanding love for God, he should consider which process is practical. One should not think, why should I follow Hindu or Vedic scriptures? The purpose of following the Vedic scriptures is to develop love of God. When students come to America for a higher education, they do not consider the fact that the teachers may be American, German, or of other nationalities. If one wants a higher education, he simply comes and takes it. Similarly, if there is an effective process for understanding and approaching God like this Krishna conscious process, one should take it. Not all but those who are intelligent and fortunate take to this process of devotional service, kevalaya bhaktaya, and their only desire is to serve Krishna. For early morning till late at night, the
Devotees are engaged.
Devotees are engaged in Krishna
Krishna's
service. This is called Kevalaya, pure.
pure.
From them, there is no other business. This process is recommended for all, and it is the perfection of all religious processes. Sarve pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshase. In Sanskrit, there are two words, para and apara, which describe the superior transcendental and inferior material approaches to religion. In the execution of material dharma or religion performed from material gain, people generally do go to the church or a temple and pray, God, please give us our daily bread. Actually, this is not be asked for bread is already provided for everyone. Even the birds and beasts get their bread without having to go to the church to ask God for it. Similarly, our bread is also provided, whether we go to church or not. That is not a problem, for no one is dying in the streets of starvation, nor do we find a bird, beast, or even an ant dying of starvation. Food is there, and one need no bother about it. If the brain should be taxed, it should be taxed for Krishna or God. This is proper utilization of time. There is no scarcity of bread in the kingdom of God. Mataji, should I read more?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. तस्यैव हेतो प्रयतेत कोविदो न लभ्यते यद् brahmatam upadyadaha. Srimad Bhagavatam says that one should try to attain that which cannot be attained by traveling all over the universe. What is that? Kevalaya Bhaktaya, pure devotion. By God's arrangement, there is sufficient food, land, and prospects for food on this planet. But we have arranged things in such a way that in one part of the world people are suffering, and the other part they are throwing grains in the ocean. The Vedas say, Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. The Supreme Person is supplying food to many living entities. The more difficulty is this material world is that we take more than we need, and thus problems are created by men led by so-called politicians. According to nature's way or God's way, everything is complete. According to Sri Isho Upanishad, Om Purana Mada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyati. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because of this, all emanations from Him, such as these phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because He is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains that complete balance. Sri Upanishad in invocation. God is complete, His creation is complete, and His arrangements are complete, but we are creating disturbances. Real education is that they will properly utilize the resources of the earth and stop creating disturbances. It is not possible to solve problems by passing resolutions in the United Nations. One should know the actual method of solving problems.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll read a little bit. Shukdev Goswami says that simply by pure devotional service one can solve the problems of life. Who can do this? It is not possible for an ordinary man, but for those who are Vasudeva Parayanaha, devoted to Lord Krishna Vasudeva. Only those whose concern is to satisfy Krishna and who takes to pure and unalloyed devotional service can solve the problems of life. Agham du dhunvanti. As already explained, the problems are created by the sinful activities. Although there is enough food, everyone stocks more than it is needed in order to make a profit or simply in order to hoard. In 1942 in India, there was an artificial famine created by the people gathering money and stocking it unnecessarily. Wealthy man collected rice, which was selling at 6 rupees a pound, and suddenly within a week the price rose to 50 rupees a pound. Consequently, no rice was available in the market, and people went hungry. An American gentleman present at that time remarked, if people in our country were starving in this way, there would have been a revolution. The people in India, however, are so trained and cultured that in spite of this artificial famine, they did not revolt but preferred to die peacefully. Of course, this is only one instance, but it shows how problems are not created by God but by man. In Germany, during the First World War, the women went to church and prayed to God to send their husbands, sons, brothers back safely. But none of them came back. Although the women became atheists, they did not consider that God did not advocate the war and its problems. They went to him for a solution. When we create our own problems, we have to suffer the results, right? So these wars, right now also there's a war going on in between Russia and Ukraine, right? People could say there is so much suffering there, and people are so much unnecessarily getting victimized. And so is it really God who is doing all that? No, because we see there is so much greed in on the other side, which is causing this imbalance, right? So our own greed is really causing these artificial problems that we see. These are not actually, these are first of all not the real problem. The real problem, the root problem of all that is that we have this body, first of all. And of this, all these other come. But if we understand even these all other problems that we have, these are not created by God. These are because of our own impurities, our own propensities, which are greed, pride, and all those anarthas that we have. Somehow the other we get entangled into that, and we create problems for ourselves. Okay, so let's see. Jyotsna or Manahar, you would like to read?
Can Jyotsna read?
Yes, go ahead.
It is a fact, however, that the problems of one who takes to the shelter of Krishna, God, are solved for this reason. If for none other, one should apply his devotional service to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha. If one engages in devotional service to Vasudeva, he will receive the highest knowledge without delay. Janayati asu vairagyam. The words jnana vairagyam refer to that knowledge by which one becomes detached from material allurement. The word jnana means knowledge and vairagyam means attachment. Both knowledge and detachment are required in this human form of life. One should know I am spiritual. I have nothing to do with the material world, but because I have a desire to enjoy it in different ways, I am transmigrating from one body to another. I do not know when this began, but it is still going on. This is real knowledge. To be to be knowledgeable, one must understand his constitutional position and realize how he is suffering in this material world. That perfection of knowledge comes when one becomes Vasudeva Parayana, haha, devoted to Lord Vasudeva. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Bahunam Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam prapadyate asudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudhulabhaha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Those great souls who know perfectly well that Krishna Vasudeva is the source of everything are very rare. It is easy to find so-called Mahatmas, great souls, with long beards and mustaches who tell everyone that they are one with God, and and that when they die they will wake up and become God. But these are not really Mahatmas. Rather, they are Durat, Duratma, hard-hearted, because they want to encroach on rightful positions of Krish, uh, Krishna and become one with him. If there were a servant in the office who tried to occupy the position of employer, would the employer like it? Similarly, any living entity who is trying to become God is not very much to God's liking. Of course, no one can become God, but this endeavor to become God or his competitor is not very pleasing to him. Persons tried are described in Bhagavad Gita as Dvistita, Dvishataha, envious. The Lord says, Tan aham dvishata kruran samsare samsare sunaradaman kshipami ajasram Asupan Asurishveva Yonishu, envious, mischievous, the lowliest of mankind, these do I ever put back into the ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. Bhagavad Gita 16.19. They are put into hellish conditions because they are envious of God's position. First, they try to occupy high positions in this material world, and when they are frustrated in their attempt, they think, now I shall occupy the position of God. Of course, this desire is also frustrated because no one can become God. God is God, and the living entity is the living entity. God is supreme and infinite. We are infinitesimal. Our position is to serve God, and when we act according to our position, we become happy. But imitating God, happiness cannot be obtained. Yasyaika nishvashita kalam atavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagat andanataha. BS 5.48.
Thank you, Jyotsna. So what was Prabhupada describing here? The position, our position and God's position. Saying after many, first of all, many lifetimes, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, person realizes that Vasudevaha Sarvamiti, that Lord is everything. He's a source of everything. What is my position? This comes after many lifetimes. And see how fortunate we are. Prabhupada is, opened up completely all these secrets of, the knowledge of secrets of this secretive knowledges that is, it is there in Bhagavad Gita and all that, but a guru has to explain, and that guru has to be pure in his own heart to be able to explain to others. And we are so fortunate to, to get this enlightenment from our dear Srila Prabhupada. So here Prabhupada, here Lord is explaining the position, how Jiva, and then, he's saying because of this propensities that Jiva has, enviousness, they are put back into this material world again. Okay, so we have just few more minutes. Let's see, Manohar, you didn't get a chance to read today. Do you want to read a quick short paragraph here? Okay, Manohar, maybe are you traveling? Do you want to read a little bit?
Yes, Mataji. Where do I
Yes.
start?
From here, there is innumerable universes.
Okay. There are innumerable universes, and within one breath of the Mahabhuti, universes are inhaled and dissolved within the body. How then can a living entity from God? God is not so cheap. Therefore, we must become advanced in knowledge and accept Vasudeva, Krishna, as the Supreme. There's no question of Krishna being a man. At no stage in his appearance on earth did he appear as an ordinary living entity. Even as a baby, he performed miraculous feats way beyond the abilities of the ordinary living entity. One should not consider that when he surrendered to Krishna, he surrendered to an ordinary man, but to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indeed, that is conferred by all Vedic literatures. Agam to Vanti, all reactions, sinful activities are cancelled when one surrenders to Krishna. In Bhagavad-Gita, Lord Krishna himself advises personal surrender to him. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam bhaja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaya ma suchaha. Give up all varieties of religiousness and just surrender unto me, and in return I shall protect you from all sinful reactions. Therefore you have nothing to fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66.
Thank you, Manohar. So it's 7. We'll end here. We'll do a little recap next week. Okay, so quickly we'll say our pranam mantras. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasinधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Ananta Kota Vrinda ki jai. Yes, Krishna, you had something to say?
Mataji, I know 18.66.
Very nice. So we are going to, next week, we are going to start from there and you're going to recite it without saying, okay?
Can I recite it very quickly?
Yes, go ahead.
Sarvadharam parityaja mamekam sarvavadham tuvam sarvapapebhyo mokshashima suchaha.
Very nice. Very nice. All glories to devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so we will end here and then we'll continue next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.